One of the main questions we always hear is, we have them all in this space, but how do we get them to talk to each other? Well, first, members might not always know how they can do this and what they should be talking about. In some use cases, it's very obvious, but if this is their first time on a community platform, if you've worked with me, you've probably heard me say this before, it can be scary being the first person showing up to a party. Anytime that we can seed content to help set the tone of our community is going to be incredibly helpful. Now, collecting seed content can be time consuming, so let's automate it. You can use an automation role to reach out to members. Maybe they've logged in, but they've never posted. Here's some brief instructions on how to post, and here's some recommended conversation starters. You can use this as a way to encourage members along their journey, especially when they're new to the platform, and encourage them to jump into conversation. The second point here, I've outlined champions and ambassadors. Now, some communities may have a more formal champions, MVP, ambassador program, but sometimes it can be really simplified. If you're a new community and you're not sure where to start, let's make sure that you have an unanswered threads widget, whether that's on your homepage or we see communities place this on a separate landing page. You can use an automation role to reach out to an active member segment and ask them to help a colleague out, driving them to this list of unanswered threads, which will ultimately improve your number of responses per thread on average. Drive conversation around events. It is so common to either have an event community, but also to start chatter around real events that your members are going to. If you are on the hub, you know that we never stop talking about Super Forum because it's something that is always top of mind for us and will drive conversation around. Whether it's an annual conference, a webinar that you are posting, or if you opt to host an in-community event like an Ask Me Anything session, this is going to help your number of discussion threads. And it's something, like I mentioned, it can be that the member doesn't know what to start talking about. So let's use something that we know they're going to. Hey, we know you've just signed up for this conference. Did you know that we're talking about accommodations and sessions over here in our conference community or even in our all-member forum? Last thing that I will call out here is our smart newsletter. If you don't have this smart newsletter enabled, this is an automated newsletter coming from community, but it brings in more content beyond just the digest. It's not meant to be a digest replacement, but ultimately a complement. It will surface more than just discussions and library resources. You can bring in events, blogs, top participants, new members, even an RSS feed actually. And it will be curated content respecting privacy permissions sent to the user on a frequency of either 1, 2, or every 4 weeks. So these are some of my initial thoughts on how to increase discussion activity. As always, John, I will let you jump in here. You let me know what I missed and what other thoughts you have.
No, this is working so much, so well together. So I'll just add to what you said, or to what Eileen was talking about. One, when we talk about driving conversation around events, I think it's also important to have a feedback loop from the events, like back to your community, specifically back to the content in your community. So what I would do, and I've talked about this with different people, but if you know that there's a topic that keeps coming up at an event, or if you just have outstanding questions from your conference, I would make sure that those questions also get redirected back to the community so that you can post those questions as like seed content, right? So we talked about seed content, we talked about automation rules, but a lot of time you can also just gather seed content by leveraging the things that you're already doing, right? Whether it's events, whether it's meetups, right? If you hear a repeated topic or conversation, put that back into the community. Just again, I'll echo what Eileen said about making it easy, not just to find the unanswered threads, but to post. I can't tell you the number of communities or people I talk with who don't have any type of feedback mechanism in place for those people that they've lost, right? And that means that there are people who have come to your community that experience some type of barrier, right? Either in participating, either in posting, but you have no method of collecting feedback to ask them, what was that structural barrier to make sure that we improve it over time? Those types of things can be implemented with like end of year surveys, polls, even just direct communication to those people who came to your community that are no longer active. All of those will give you feedback on those obstacles that might be preventing people from posting. So I'll just leave it at that. I could talk about this all day. Just be, yeah, yes. Thanks, Melissa, for being transparent with that, right? A lot of people don't. And you could talk with us as advisors. We have some templates. You could also put that into the HUD. A lot of people share their end of year surveys and questions that they ask to make sure that you're capturing that to make your community experience better. So I'll just leave it at that.